Matt,
Yeah.
are we doing the podcast?
Yeah?
Well, our special guest is here. He's been waiting for 20 minutes.
Yep.
Are you even listening to me?
Yep.
Matt!
Huh? Oh, crap. Podcast. Right. Hey, Embassy Nerdcore. Let's switch it up.
Why do you think your mommy or daddy are always telling you, don't put that in your mouth? Let's find out.
Don't you put it in your mouth, don't you put it in your mouth, don't you stuff it in your face, don't stuff it in your face, though it might look good to eat, though it might look good to eat, and it might look good to taste, and it might look good to taste. If you don't know just what it is, remember boys and girls, don't put it in your mouth.
Always ask someone you love before you put anything in your mouth.
Hello, Nintendo.
Hello and welcome to the third episode of Hello Nintendo, the official podcast of our Nintendo. I'm your host, Matt, aka TrainAss, and with me today again is Michael, aka IwataFan.
Hello.
And we've got a special guest with us today. He is the host of the YouTube series Last Week on our Xbox One. He's the co-host of the Xbox One Party Chat, Clayton Parker, aka UncleJesse.
Yeah, hey everybody, how are you doing?
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. Very excited to be over here on the other side of things on the Nintendo podcast.
Well, thanks for the shout-outs that you guys have done on the Party Chat for us. That was a big boost for us.
Hey, no worries, man. We you know, are in full support of our fellow Redditor podcasters out there, so especially on the gaming front.
So, since we've got our new host with us, we like to do a bit of a host expose so we can get to know them better. So, Clay, we've got some questions for you.
Yeah.
So the name UncleJesse, how did you come up with that? Where did that come from?
Yeah, it's not a Dukes of Hazzard reference, although I almost wish it was a Dukes of Hazzard reference. It's referring back to Full House and my dear friend John Stamos. And I used to actually have long hair, and at least this is how I'm recalling coming up with this. And my niece would was sort of a nickname was Uncle Jesse, and I actually spell it weird. It's with a Y at the end instead of an E, and that's because I had a few drinks one evening when I was setting up my Xbox Live account and was locked in at that point. And I don't think you could change your gamer tags back on the way back in the original Xbox or 360 days. So
Well, it could be worse.
Locked in. Yeah, it could be. It could be Train-ass, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, who the hell comes up with a name like that?
I know.
So how did you get started doing the YouTube channel for the Xbox One subreddit and the podcast?
Yeah, well, I have been a big gamer for a really long time, and was super excited about the Xbox coming out, the Xbox One, a few years back, and at the time I was really more interested in the fitness aspect of of it, and started doing. As soon as the Xbox came out, I was doing a whole bunch of Xbox fitness videos and overviews of different stuff about the Xbox One, and then found the Xbox One subreddit immediately right after. And then I can't remember, I sort of as a goof did some sort of a news spoof on a topic that someone had posted on the Xbox One subreddit, and that sort of morphed into a, hey, maybe I'll try and do a weekly video series recapping the top posts. Sort of similar to what Xbox does, but really specific to the subreddit. And I sort of started chatting with the mods and got approval to go ahead and do that, and have been running that for the better part of almost 2 years now. So,
Nice.
so much
Yeah,
fun.
it seems like it's taken off. We get some good responses to the videos, yeah.
One of the things that I really enjoy about doing it is it's helped me learn how to not only shoot video, edit video, better make use of lighting and audio and the visuals and just effects even at sometimes. So that's been a really big thing for me, and I try to keep it fresh and mix it up, and I'm actually looking to mix up the format of it here probably in the next few weeks. I'm getting a whole green screen setup going and working on a few things for that. We'll see if I can get that going. But yeah, I got to keep it fresh.
Nice. Well, I mean, they look pretty professional as is, so I'm looking forward to seeing when the new ones come out. So.
I actually did get the big thumbs up and approval from Major Nelson, and I've had a few conversations with him about it, which has always been very, very interesting and funny to think that he's watched at least one or two of those and probably cringed a few times. But
that's pretty cool. So what would you say your favorite game of all time is? And you don't have to keep this to just Nintendo. I know this is a Nintendo podcast, but let's open it wide up.
Man. Wow, that is a really tough one. Favorite game ever. Holy cow, that is a wild one. I would almost like to say a Nintendo title would be the original Zelda. Just because I have so many fond memories of that, and it's something that I feel like I can always go back to and play, especially with the re-release of the NES Classic. I mean, that's been something I've been hotly playing almost weekly now, thanks to that. Yeah, I think I'll probably stick with Zelda at this point.
So we know the Switch just came out. What have you been playing the past week?
Oh man, I have been. I went out for the midnight release. I don't do that very often for things anymore since I'm an old man with children of my own these days. But went out for the release of the Switch. Picked up Zelda. Have been not playing as much as I would like to have with that. I've just been super busy. Been pretending I'm Mario at this point. Was replacing a sink in my kitchen for my wife, and which actually went well. Just took a lot longer than I would like to. And yeah, I mean, I've been playing Zelda. I normally am on the Xbox playing Rainbow Six Siege. Been playing that a lot, and then was actually testing out the Play Anywhere, or I can't remember. They sort of rolled out a subscription thing that I was testing, and was playing some of the older games that are actually was Gears of War Ultimate Edition. So I've been playing that.
That's cool.
But,
I saw when you were streaming on Beam, Rainbow Six. I caught that when you posted it on Twitter, so I saw that for a little bit.
Man, I do love that service. I won't lie. I'm actually looking forward to. I'm gonna try and get my Switch hooked up to my Elgato so I can do a little Beam streaming of Zelda. We'll see how that all works. I'm very interested in checking that out, though.
Have mercy. Have mercy. Have mercy. Have mercy.
With the Mario Brothers and plumbing's our game. We're not like the others who get all the fame. If your sink is in trouble, you can call us on the double. We're faster than the others, you'll be hooked on the brothers.
So we're going to switch things over to Michael now. We're going to check out some Nintendo news.
Well, hello everybody, and it has been an amazing last week for Nintendo fans with the release of the Nintendo Switch on March 3rd. A lot of us were able to get our Switches on day one release. Some of us even got our shipments in early on March 2nd, and since then, no doubt anyone who owns a Switch has been playing Breath of the Wild pretty much all weekend. The Nintendo Switch released with a few other games like Bomberman, Fast Racing RMX, Snipper Clips, and 1-2 Switch are among what's available right now. We also have Shovel Knight, which there are two versions of Shovel Knight available. You can just buy the most recent release, Spectre of Torment, or you can buy the whole collection, which is all 3 Shovel Knight releases in one happy package. So what have you guys been playing, Matt?
Aside from Breath of the Wild, I've also been playing Bomberman. My wife and I were playing that last night, pretty much up until my left Joy-Con started giving me being a big pain, and that was actually a lot of fun. And then 1-2 Switch as well. I know my 4-year-old likes playing that. She has some trouble with some of the games, but she's adapting. She's doing pretty good.
Do you think 1-2 Switch is a very robust game? A lot of people are complaining that it's a little small. Maybe the price isn't justified. What do you think?
Oh, I feel the same way. I honestly feel that it should have been bundled in with the system. Like it's like, you know, the Wii Sports and Super Mario and Duck Hunt, and you know, it's a fun tech demo.
Yeah.
Right. Do you think that they'll make that eventually like a freebie with the console, or just a freebie as in a download?
I'm kind of hoping that they eventually maybe do like a 1-2 Switch bundle or something down the road. I mean, they did it with Nintendo Land when the Wii U launched. So,
do you know how many different activities are there in that?
There's surprisingly quite a few. When I first started the game up, there were only, I want to say maybe six games. There maybe not even that many. I don't even recall. And it wasn't until we played through each of those games that it finally unlocked the rest of them. So yeah, there's quite a few, because when I first started up the game, like, well, where's all these ones? Like, where's the milking one, and where's the shaving one, and the balls in a box? Like, where are all these extra games that they showed in the videos? And then it was Friday night. My oldest and I were playing, and then all of a sudden the game. So I was like, well, you've had a good experience with all these games. Here's the rest of them. And then everything else opened up, and I haven't even checked to see how many games there are. There's quite a few though.
That's what sort of held me on. I was interested in picking it up. It seemed like it would be a fun game to play with my oldest son, but I was going, I don't know. It seems like there's only like 5 or 6 games, and it's $50. I don't want to pay that for this. But if there's more, I might be tempted to actually get that, especially if I can get maybe it on sale somewhere in the next few weeks.
I think I've heard there might be something like 25 or more. However, even
wow.
I would still personally be skeptical and not buy it for the full $50 price tag, because like you guys have said, it seems more like a tech demo, which is nice. It's cool to explore the features of a new system with a game that is clearly designed to highlight them, but I don't know, $50 seems pretty steep.
I did a quick Google as well. There are 28 different mini games.
That's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad actually.
$2 per minigame.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you don't feel like buying the whole price, give it a couple months and you'll be able to pick it up used somewhere.
Also, checking out the UI. We talked about it on the last episode, but now we actually have it in our hands. What are you guys' impressions of the UI? Clay, have you had a chance?
Yeah, I've been playing. When I first got it, that was the first thing that I did, was sort of explore all through it and see what was sort of in the nooks and crannies. And this is actually my first Nintendo console since the N64, and then came back. This has really piqued my interest. And I, for whatever reason, what didn't sink into me was that this was a touch screen. I mean, it's a no-brainer that it should be a touchscreen, but I was filling in, I think it was my Wi-Fi password when I was initially setting it up, and I was using the controllers. I was like, wait a minute, is this a touchscreen? I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much easier. Just makes a lot more sense to have some of that. But I thought it was very intuitive to get around, and I'm hoping that they come out with more themes. You know, they just have the dark and the light theme. I think you guys mentioned this the last time as well, but I'm hoping that there are eventually, like a green theme, a blue theme, a Mario theme, whatever it may be. Could be pretty cool.
Yeah, I've heard a few people really hope that there's going to be themes like what they do on the 3DS, where it just kind of changes everything, background music. Like, I've got the Zelda theme on my 3DS, and as Link walks, he shoots his sword, and it's got all the sound effects from Super Mario, or Legend of Zelda 1 and everything. It's it's a nice one. So yeah, I agree. I hope they do bring out some more themes.
Now that you mention it, Clay, I do not think it ever really prompted you to touch the screen.
No, it really didn't.
So you could go the whole time without even thinking to try that, and especially older gamers who didn't have the luxury of touch screens, we might just kind of default to the controllers.
That is me 110% of the way. Anything
you can do throughout the UI, it seems like you basically have either the touch screen option or the buttons, so Nintendo's done really well to integrate everything. I think in past consoles there were certain things you could only do with the touchscreen, and certain things you could only do with buttons, and you could kind of find yourself jumping back and forth. So I think they've simplified, and it's better when a UI is simple.
Also on the Wii U, if I'm sitting on my couch and I've already got the Pro Controller up, but I need to make a change, I don't want to have to get up, go grab the gamepad, just so I can make a couple tweaks, and then now I've got the gamepad that's on and active sitting somewhere.
Yeah, that's a good point. I remember. I'm glad that they've kind of learned their lesson with the Switch in making all the hardware intrinsically appealing, intuitive, and just kind of fun to mess around with. We know that it did not launch with an internet browser, and there's a lot of speculation as to why that is. Most people seem to think that it has to do something with preventing people from hacking the device, but what do you guys think of the lack of a browser or even streaming services at this point?
I don't personally care all that much, since I already have a phone and a tablet and a laptop and a Roku and about 100 other devices that can do all of those. I think, especially, maybe for the younger audience, that would be something that obviously they would love to have. And maybe as a parent, if my kids were older and I trusted my son to be able to handle this and not snap it in half, then maybe, yeah, I would love to have a Netflix option on here. I bet you in 6 months they'll have that.
I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Clay, with I've got every other device that I could imagine that'll stream video, so
Right.
No Netflix, doesn't really matter. I mean, if my kids watch movies in the car when we're on the road, I either preload them on my tablet or I stream them from my own home server, that I've got set up. So the browser, I don't know. Nintendo's worried about, that's what people think, is they're worried about it being compromised. Well, you could easily get the homebrew channel on the Wii by using Lego Batman. So there's no browser anywhere in there, and you could even get it with using Twilight Princess.
Basically, I think what happened is, at least for the 3DS, you use the browser to begin the homebrew process. And so that's why I think people are speculating that there is no browser, but I think it's simpler than that. I think basically my suspicion is Nintendo's browser isn't ready yet, and they're just continuing to work on it. I don't personally feel a need for a browser, because whenever I need to use the internet, I want to use my laptop. I don't even like using my smartphone, honestly, so for me, this is not a big loss, even if it never comes to be.
Yeah. Are there any games? I know we're talking about the browser, having a browser capability, but just brought to my mind, are there any of the launch titles that allow you to play? Is there multiplayer with any of the launch titles? Does it have multiplayer capabilities at launch, or is that something that's coming later?
There are some games with online multiplayer. For instance, I bought Fast RMX, which is a racing F-Zero-S game, and that actually does have online. I think Matt's been playing Bomberman R, which also has online. So
I've been playing couch co-op with my wife. I haven't even looked at online play.
Okay.
The online capability is there so long for games that want to use it.
Okay.
And Fast RMX for sure does have online play. It is free until the fall when Nintendo releases the paid service.
Okay. I was going to say, I thought I had heard that they were going to be rolling out a paid subscription service, sort of Xbox Live, PlayStation Plus type thing. Well, that's interesting to hear. Did they mention anything in terms of how much that's going to cost?
$26 a month, about.
Say what?
So we go. I'm sorry. We're gonna edit that out. It's $26 a year.
Oh, okay. No, that's better.
$18 to $26 a year. So that is
$26 a month. Good lord, that's a lot of money.
Oh man. Yeah. So that's what the Nintendo president said at one of the stockholder meetings. I think he said it would be about $18 to $26. They're still finalizing it.
Oh, that's not bad.
And so it'll hopefully be inexpensive. In the meantime, we get to play for free. So the big online games that are coming out will be Mario Kart 8, obviously, and then later on Splatoon 2. So we'll get to play those for free in the meantime, whet our appetites for what's to come.
I really hope this generation we see a lot more online play, like a lot more with racers and shooters and everything, because that's the one. I think that's one of Nintendo's weakest points is the whole online thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I hope that the purpose of the paid online service is to widen opportunities for developers to use online. I'm hoping that's the reason behind it, so we'll just see what happens, but I'm hoping for the best. I do agree that's Nintendo's biggest weak point. So speaking of upcoming titles, recently Nintendo released a Nindies Direct on YouTube, and it showcased a lot of indie titles, many of which have been released already on Steam and other consoles, and other indie titles that are still upcoming. So I was wondering, Matt, did you get a chance to take a look at any of the Nindies Direct titles coming up?
This is kind of embarrassing, but no, I haven't. I didn't even realize that they even had that video out. I really should take a look at that.
You and me both. I was going, wait, what? There's indie titles that I can play? So wait, are those coming? So those are available through other services like Steam, or are they? Is that those are coming to the Switch as well?
Some of them aren't actually released yet and have been announced for the Switch. So some are going to be exclusive, some are going to be time exclusive, and then others are already out everywhere else but are coming. So, for instance, Stardew Valley is already everywhere, but it's coming to the Switch. And we got Shovel Knight already. We have SteamWorld Dig 2 coming, things like that. And so, do you guys see any title in this list here that you're familiar with?
For me, it's going to be Overcooked, just because my fellow podcaster over on the Party Chat podcast, Reese, has brought it up just about every week for the past month or so now. We'll definitely have to check that out once it's made available.
What about you, Matt?
SteamWorld Dig 2. Absolutely loved the first one. I've got it through the Humble Bundle, and
Nice.
I think I forget how I got it on, but I got it on both 3DS and the Wii U, and I love it. It's a nice little exploration game, and so yeah, second one, that'll be good. Hopefully they can do something cool with the Joy-Cons and that HD Rumble.
Yeah, I think that in the Nindy Direct, it does show that a lot of these games are trying to showcase the hardware of the Switch, so hopefully we're going to see a lot of that from a number of these games. Probably the one I'm looking most forward to is Shakedown Hawaii, which is by V-Blank Entertainment. At the time of this recording, the AMA with V-Blank Entertainment has not happened yet, but it is going to be ready by the time this podcast is released, so I recommend everybody go and take a look at the AMA. They're the guys who made Retro City Rampage, which is an awesome GTA-esque game that has been released for many different platforms. So we're looking forward to the spiritual successor, Shakedown Hawaii.
I'm just looking at it right now, just did a quick Google search, and that actually looks like a pretty neat game.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever had a chance to play Retro City Rampage, I think you'll find it's a fun little sandbox type game to just mess around with, go and steal cars, shoot at innocent bystanders, things of that nature.
I thought that wasn't allowed here on the Nintendo.
So, I mean, speaking of the hardware of the Nintendo Switch, we have heard a lot recently from various news outlets about problems that many people have been experiencing with the left Joy-Con in particular. Now, this applies also to the right Joy-Con, but in particular, the left Joy-Con seems to be having a connectivity issue. For people, it seems to be irregardless of how far they are from the Switch or any other factors. It just seems to be hiccuping, basically. There's a very popular video where someone's in the calibration settings menu and kind of demonstrating that the left Joy-Con cannot communicate with the Switch when he puts his hand over it in certain ways or when he puts it behind his back. What have you guys experienced? Have you seen any issues, Matt?
Yeah, so I mentioned earlier playing Bomberman with my wife last night, and I gave her the Pro Controller because I'm a nice guy, and I used the 2 Joy-Cons in their little cradle thing. And yeah, there would be a number of times where I'd be moving my character, and all of a sudden I'd stop moving and he would continue walking, or I'd be trying to move out of the way of a bomb I just planted or an enemy coming by, and he's not moving anywhere. And eventually it just started getting a little bit worse and worse, and so we're just like, you know what? Let's just finish watching Ant-Man instead. And,
Just full on gave up, did you?
yeah, pretty much, yeah. So I think it's definitely an issue, and I know we were kind of talking about it a little bit last night in our mod chat. It could be just a range issue with the Bluetooth.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking, because personally I am not experiencing any issues until I'm about 15 feet away from my Switch and I'm using the Joy-Cons, and so that's a pretty big distance. That is about how far I experience issues also with things like the Wiimote Plus as well, so I'm not sure if it is just a range issue, but I've heard some other people, one of our other mods, for instance, have said that he was 3 feet away from his Switch and he was still experiencing an issue with the left Joy-Con. So Clay, have you noticed any issues on your end?
I haven't. But then again, I haven't really been playing it with just the Joy-Con standalone. I've only been playing with the controls directly connected to the console itself or to the controller attachment. Matt, I meant to ask you, how are you liking the Pro controller?
I love it. It's great.
It's not the answer I was hoping to hear. I was hoping you were going to say it's horrible.
Absolutely, Xbox
don't
One
spend
controller's
even
the
more.
best one.
Don't spend even more money on this console.
I was kind of skeptical when I got it. It's like, I think it was like $100. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's getting into like Xbox One Elite controller territory.
Yep.
And but no, it's got a really good weight to it. Like the Wii U Pro controller was very light, but the battery on it lasted forever, and like it was a very solid controller. This one, it's almost like they just kind of, it's like the evolution of the Wii U Pro controller. Like it's got a better weight. The joysticks have been offset, like on the Xbox One, and it's very comfortable. It's a good size. Pretty much I spent all day yesterday and Friday playing Breath of the Wild. All day yesterday and Friday playing Breath of the Wild. Hands didn't cramp up at all. It's, I kind of want to pick up a couple more.
Yeah, Clay, I have to say, you're going to be out another $70, man, because this controller is worth it.
I was waiting in line looking at all the other available things to pick up, and I was going, man, I didn't pre-order this. I wasn't planning on spending $70 on this, but I am really tempted to pick it up. And it looks nice, and I think the thing for me is it's even when I use the controller attachment, it feels okay, and it works okay. It just doesn't have that same, there's just something about it that the feel isn't quite what I'm looking for when console gaming, and I have a feeling I'm going to end up picking that up. So
what's kind of
either that or I'll beg my wife to get it for me for something. There's no holidays coming up here that I can ask.
Father's Day.
4th of July? Father's Day.
Nice.
Perfect. There we go. That's right.
There's actually something kind of cool I saw this morning when I was making breakfast. I was just browsing through Twitter. There's actually a little hidden message on the Switch Pro controller. It's right above the right analog stick, and you kind of got to tilt the controller a little bit, but the message says, "Thanks to all the game fans."
Oh, that's awesome.
It's just silk screened right onto the PCB there, though, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it feels like that's a nice little thank you note for the more hardcore fans who are likely to buy this controller, I think.
Similar reason why there was that hidden message within the code for the NES Classic as well.
Hidden away. I know also the Switch, if you wake it up from sleep using ZR, it does a little clown horn honk.
Oh yeah, there's a few of them on there as well.
Yeah, what are the other ones, Clay? I thought I saw you posted a YouTube video with them.
Yeah, actually, I saw someone, I think it was on the Nintendo subreddit. It should have been the Nintendo subreddit, posted the thing about the honking, and then I was furiously pressing all of the other buttons, and there's like a if you press the ZL button, the left trigger, it makes sort of a mechanical sound. Then if you press in on the left joystick, it, I think, makes an alien sound. And then on the right joystick, if you press in on that, to me it sounds like Qbert for old school gaming.
Oh, yeah.
It sounded like that little spring sound that Qbert made when you press that, which I don't know. I thought those were pretty cool. And apparently someone said that there's, again, I haven't played a lot of the other consoles. That was it. One of the other Nintendos.
The GameCube.
The GameCube. Yeah.
I think it was the Z button when you started it up. It was a different noise as opposed to the chimes.
Welcome to
I
Canada.
forget what it is now.
Zed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not you guys. Reese is always going on about my Canadian accent.
It definitely comes through every once in a while. I'm like, dang, man, he's got a bit of that Canadian accent really kicks in every once in a while.
Do to boot it.
Yes, Canada. It was a frozen, hostile wasteland.
Well, hey, we're going to switch things over to Matt, who's going to share with us some things that have been going on at the Nintendo subreddit. Matt?
So one of the big things that happened was there was a big backlash against Voz and with the first touchscreen only Switch game. So it's a launch title in Japan. It's to be determined everywhere else. It hasn't been really announced anywhere else. And yeah, it's the only game, it's the first game to only be available in tablet mode due to how frantic the touch action of the game is. Essentially, it's a mobile port as opposed to being an original title. There's been some worries that it's, a theoretical Pokemon game that could eventually come to the Switch might also kind of follow this same trait and be a handheld only title. What do you guys think, Clay? What are your thoughts of the having a touchscreen only title?
I'm not opposed to that. I was actually thinking in terms of a touchscreen title. As soon as I started playing the console, what came to my mind was the latest Mario game that was released. Mario Run. And I'm going, it's a matter of time before that comes to this system and you're using the touchscreen just like you are on your phone to make him run and do all of his wild and craziness.
I don't really play too many mobile games anyways, aside from I think I play Solitaire and Turbo Dismount on my phone. That's about it. Just not, and I think it's partially that is because of the size of the screen. But if I'm playing a console game, if I'm playing my console, I want to use physical controls. So,
yeah.
Yep. I was going to say, take note, everyone that has a Switch right now. Do yourself a favor. Go into your console. Take a look at your game library. It's probably only one game, maybe two games, maybe three games. Take a mental image of that or grab yourself a little screenshot because, 2 years from now, you're going to have a huge library of games available either that you've purchased or for you to purchase. It's just it's wild thinking back of how quickly these game libraries grow. And I'm 100% positive that they will for sure be rolling out more touchscreen games since this is touchscreen capable. And it's a beautiful screen that I don't like touching.
Yeah. Well, I ended up picking up a tempered glass screen protector off of Amazon for mine because there were some reports of people saying that their screens were getting scratched going in and out of that
don't tell me
dock.
that.
So I've got the screen protector on order. It's because when I picked up my console, it was all they had was just the plastic ones, which are kind of crappy. Mm-hmm. So I, after using the tempered glass ones on my phone and everything, I wanted to do the same thing because then you still get that nice silky smooth glass feel. And
did you guys pick up a case for yours?
I ordered same with my screen protector. Mine's ordered on Amazon as well because it was cheaper to get it from I forget what brand it was than to pick it up in store when I got my console.
Yeah, I noticed that I was kind of looking around the Nintendo store. So if you go to Nintendo.com, they kind of have a customer service parts related online store. Because I was trying to find out what are all the official Switch accessories that are going to be available. And one of the things I saw was a case that you can kind of fold up to prop the Switch up, kind of like if you've seen iPad cases where you can kind of fold the back of them in this triangle formation to prop the iPad up. Well, evidently Nintendo makes a case just like that for the Switch. So I'm thinking of picking that up. And now that Matt has mentioned screen scratches from putting it in the dock, now I'm extra paranoid and will probably be getting a screen protector.
I mean, even the plastic one will do for now, but I highly recommend the tempered glass. And I'm sure once mine shows up, I'll probably post a tiny little review or something on the subreddits just so people know about it, because I don't think many people know that you can get the tempered glass ones.
Matt, from here on out, you need to just keep me in the loop with everything that you're buying so that I can also make sure to pick those up. Now I need to get a controller, a tempered glass, and whatever this case is that you're ordering. Actually, you know what I'm immediately thinking about was I need a case. I have a lot of 3D printers. Maybe I will just try and make my own case for my Switch. We'll see.
Yeah, and
I don't know how soft it would be on it, but
well,
it could be kind of cool.
Hit up a fabric store, pick up some felt or something.
Oh
get some glue.
Yeah.
Like you could do something pretty good.
Yeah, there's actually a post on our subreddit right now about how people are already 3D printing Switch accessories.
Oh,
so
I am well aware. I've already printed. I posted a reply in there. I was going, I have printed the controller add-on that is being referred to already, and yeah, I was actually this morning eyeing. Someone has made I don't know how to pronounce it, Sheik Slate from Zelda.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going, all right, I'm going to be firing that up later this week, printing my own version of that and figuring out how I can put LEDs in it.
So, Clay, you also printed something else and did something very mean.
Oh, yes.
You did something very mean. You ended up getting some pretty big backlash.
Oh, my gosh. I knew that was going to come. I knew that was going to come from doing that. But, so what I had done was maybe a month ago, I had 3D printed a Nintendo Switch. And it was great. And it looked pretty realistic. Not up close, obviously, but I tried to color match it as best I could. At the launch event, I brought the printed Switch with me, and my intentions were, all right, I have a hammer in my pocket. I have my 3D printed Switch in my pocket. What I'm going to do is, after I get my console, I'm going to go out into the parking lot where everybody else is still waiting in line, and I'm going to smash it and freak everybody else. By the time I got my console, it was almost 2 a.m. No one was waiting outside anymore. Everybody was inside. I'm going, there's no way I'm doing this inside Best Buy. I'll probably get arrested for having a hammer, and they're thinking I'm going to attack somebody. So I'll have to figure something else out. So what I did was I went home, and the next day I did an unboxing of my Switch and was like, I don't really like this. It's not really for me. I'm more of an Xbox fan. I'm going to do something crazy. And I took out my hammer, and then I started smashing my 3D printed Switch, but I had my camera a little bit further away, and I put a piece of glass from a picture frame on the front, which I'm sure once my wife finds out, she's going to be thrilled to know that there's broken glass probably outside the back of our house. And yes, ended up smashing it, and clearly some people got the joke, and I full on said that I obviously would not. I just paid good money for this, very interested in it. I'm not going to smash it. And people were like livid with but I've got a good ratio of likes to dislikes at this point. It's almost even. It's at like about 100 each. So, but I've had some very annoyed comments from people watching this. So
it reminded me of when the Wii and the PS3 came out. There was a video of somebody that had just gone into the store, bought a PS3, and in front of everybody else opened it out of the box and just destroyed it.
Oh, yeah. That was the idea. That was the initial idea. Or the other idea I had was, I think it was either one of the iPhones came out, and there was a video, it was like, this is the first guy to get the new iPhone, and he was really excited and showing the news, and he opens up the case, and the phone falls out and falls on the ground.
Oh, wow.
So, I almost wanted to try and do something like that, but it was, and I was never going to use, what was I going to use a 3D printed Switch for after I now have the official one?
So as we all know, Switch launch was just a couple days ago, and I figured I was going to the midnight launch at the GameStop where I pre-ordered my console because nobody else was doing a midnight launch, and going to Best Buy the day of, or waiting for the delivery guy to drop it off from Amazon just isn't as fun. So what I did is I decided to interview some people that were waiting in line. And I even ended up getting to talk to one of the sales associates from GameStop and kind of get an idea of how the pre-orders went and kind of what people are excited for and what they hope to be able to do with the system. So we're going to check out that interview next. Hey everybody, Matt here. It is launch night and I'm currently at GameStop. There's a huge line outside, and the sales associates have been nice enough to let me actually come inside and ask them a few questions before launch, kind of get out of the cold and warm up. So I am here with
Madison.
How's it going?
Good, and you?
I'm doing all right. Looks like you guys are going to have a lot of people camped out in the store, eh?
Yeah, definitely.
So how many Switch pre-orders did you end up getting?
I can't see an exact number, but almost 100.
That's a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
What would you say the most popular Switch game was that got pre-ordered?
Breath of the Wild for sure. It was pretty much every console came with Breath of the Wild. So.
What was the second most popular game that got pre-ordered?
1-2 Switch.
That actually kind of surprised me. It seems more of like a tech demo, something that people might play for a little bit and then just kind of trade in.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Wii Sports. It kind of should have came with the console, but it did not. So.
How popular were the Breath of the Wild amiibos? There were quite a few of them, so.
Surprisingly, they weren't that popular. More of the rare ones, like the Guardian and stuff, which are the ones we didn't have high stock of.
So what you're saying is if I didn't pre-order, I should be able to pick something up right now?
There's low stock, but hopefully.
Now, with the pre-orders opened up a month ago, what was the most asked question people when they came in asking for the Switch or pre-ordering?
They wanted to know if it's going to be as hard to find as the NES Classic, because that one is very rare to find, so.
You can't find the NES Classic still.
Yeah, they barely come in at all.
In general, did the majority of customers prefer the gray or the neon Switch?
Even with our allocated pre-orders, we had a smaller amount of the neon, but more people were asking for the gray ones before the neon ones.
That's actually kind of surprising because everywhere that I was looking and people that I've talked to or heard online, everybody wanted the neon ones.
Yeah, I was a little surprised too because I thought the neon ones were the best, so.
Which one did you end up getting?
I got the neon one.
So what would you say your favorite Nintendo game is?
Probably Animal Crossing.
Any one in particular or just in general?
My favorite one was for the GameCube. I didn't like the DS one that much. The Wii one was okay, and the new 3DS one was really good too. But definitely the GameCube one.
Are you hoping that they release something good for the Switch?
I'm really hoping for it.
Well, hopefully they take advantage of its portability and really kind of somehow incorporate that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm waiting for the day that it gets announced. So.
Is there any other game series that you would love to see come to the Switch?
Well, I know one that is coming to the Switch that I'm super excited for, Splatoon 2. I played the hell out of Splatoon 1, so definitely very excited for that one.
I'm just glad that I'm going to be able to use a regular controller for Splatoon 2. That was kind of one of my biggest issues with the first one, is that I had to use the gamepad, and I kind of wanted to just use the Pro Controller.
I knew a lot of people that didn't like Splatoon just because of the controller, but I think my favorite part was the motions in the controller and everything. I thought it was incredible, so.
Hey, so I'm outside of GameStop right now. There's already a small line that's kind of started forming. Most people, I think, are waiting until the launch before they show up because it is a little cold, but we've got people here. We're going to ask some questions and kind of see what they think of the Switch. And so I'm here with
Steve.
Hey, Steve, how's it going?
Fantastic.
So how long have you been camping out front of the store?
I've only been here for a couple of hours, really.
Are you hoping to get one as soon as doors open, or did you pre-order?
Oh, I pre-ordered the moment they were available.
What would you say is the feature or game that you are most excited for the Switch?
I'm actually going to have to give you two here. Zelda on the go.
Yeah, I think that's going to be pretty sweet.
Yeah, that I know it's two features, being able to take the system out of the dock and Zelda, but the two of them combined, unreal happy moment.
I can definitely agree with that one. So how long have you been a Nintendo fan, or is this your first Nintendo system?
My first actual memory as a human being is playing Super Mario Brothers at 2 years old with my dad and my mom in our apartment back in 1985.
Have you ever strayed to any other systems?
I have everything, but I always come back to Nintendo.
So I am now here with
Riley.
How's it going, Riley?
Oh, pretty good. How are you?
Not too bad. You staying warm?
Trying to.
So how long have you been waiting out front of GameStop?
Probably almost 3 hours. Pretty long. I'm going to be waiting a lot longer because unfortunately I didn't get a pre-order. So I'm waiting outside of Walmart for 7 hours after I get my game here.
So what feature or game are you most excited for on the Switch?
Legend of Zelda.
I think that's probably going to be one of the top comments there. Yeah. How long have you been a Nintendo fan, or is this your first Nintendo system?
No, I've been a fan since probably 1999 when I first played Ocarina of Time.
Have you ever strayed to any other systems, or have you only ever been Nintendo?
I do have an XboxOne, but I've always gone Nintendo.
I am now here with
James
and Nick.
How's it going, guys?
I'm cold.
It's going pretty good.
Hopefully getting a console tonight and Legend of Zelda. I have been a Zelda fan since I was like 6 with Ocarina of Time with my cousin. A lot of good memories and scary ones of being trapped outside the gates that night.
Did you say the N64 was your first system?
Oh yeah, and still my favorite. I have one at home that I need to really get controllers for in games. Just the console, that's all I got.
I am now joined with
Keenan and Tramel.
How's it going, guys?
It's going good. Very good.
Are you feeling pretty cold?
Yeah, we're really cold. At least my legs are.
So what would you say your first Nintendo system was?
Probably a DS.
And what about yourself?
My first Nintendo system was a Game Boy Advance SP. Because, well, it was a SpongeBob edition one, and because my older brother had one, and I was like, well, I want one, and then we went to Walmart, I'm like, there's that one, and then my older brother was angry that I got the SpongeBob one, and then he eventually lost his.
How's it going, Duncan?
Just fine, man.
Did you pre-order a system? Did you get a token? I heard they were handing those out, or are you hoping to get your hands on a system?
We tried to pre-order in several different locations. They were already all gone, so we're just starting here tonight, and if we have to, we'll go to Walmart tomorrow, or Toys R Us tomorrow, or Best Buy, or wherever we have to go to get our hands on one.
What would you say the game or feature that you're most excited for on the Switch?
Oh man, the whole tablet type function or feature is really cool. Being the portable feature of it, and I mean, it's all about Zelda, right? I mean, we're huge Zelda family. Our daughter has a room all done up in Zelda, and we built shelves like the Triforce and all kinds of cool stuff. So it's all about Zelda, man. I'm in my early 40s, and our whole family games. My wife's in the truck waiting. I had the first NES, and we've had almost every console ever since. PlayStations, Xboxes, all the Nintendo consoles, everything. We're just gamers, PC, everything. So
now I am joined with
Keeter.
How's it going, Keeter?
It's going really good.
So you got a ticket then?
Yeah.
So what feature or game are you most excited for on the Nintendo Switch?
There's another game other than Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild. I haven't played too many Zelda games, which is bad, but I've played like Wind Waker, and I've watched my brother play the other ones. I'm excited. Looks really good. Gets a lot of good reviews.
How long have you been a Nintendo fan, or is this going to be your first Nintendo system?
I'm only 20, so I guess maybe since I was 5. Yeah, I had like a Game Boy Color. It was cool.
So you'd been a Nintendo fan for
16 years. I mean, some people in this line have probably been a Nintendo fan longer than I am, so yeah.
I am now joined with
Lucia.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing okay. You staying warm?
Yes, I'm pretty warm.
How long have you been waiting in front of the store?
Maybe about 10 minutes.
So that's not too long. Were you able to get a pre-order, or I heard they were handing out tokens earlier?
I got a pre-order. I came here like the day after the pre-order started because I had trouble with it online. And I still need the Pro Controller, so I'm hoping to get one of those tonight. Don't have a pre-order for it.
What game or feature would you say that you are most excited for on the Switch?
Well, it's not coming out today, but definitely Splatoon 2.
Did you ever compete in any of the tournaments or anything that were going on?
I haven't, but I think I'm going to be interested in doing that with Splatoon 2.
How long have you been a Nintendo fan, or is this going to be your first Nintendo system?
Well, I've been growing up with Nintendo all my life. My mom had an NES and Super Nintendo basically since I was born. So
this is kind of old hat for you then, right?
oh yeah, I lined up. I went overnight for the Wii. I wasn't sold on the Wii U, but I got it anyway, and yeah, and I enjoyed it 'cause like Splatoon.
Right on. Thanks very much. Hope you stay warm.
Thank you.
So that was the interview. That was actually a lot of fun being able to talk to other Nintendo people. Got to meet a couple people that are actually subscribers to the subreddit. So if you're listening to this, how's it going? Hope you guys are enjoying your Switch. And one of the people was actually even already listened to the podcast, which was really cool. So we're going to switch things up again. Pass things back over to Michael for our game of the week.
Well, thanks, Matt. I'm sure this will come as a surprise to nobody, but our game of the week is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I've been playing all weekend, and I'm not even out of the initial area yet. My brother, by contrast, is a lot more efficient and has made it further along in the main story and is showing me some teaser screenshots of what's to come. But I've just been so distracted by all the things there are to do in this game. What about you, Matt? What have you been up to?
Aside from dying constantly, I'm so glad there's no death count in this game, because I'm sure I'm probably in the triple digits at this point. It's really difficult, and it's definitely taken a little bit to change my playstyle from playing other Zelda games. I mean, your weapons break, your shields break, whereas in previous Zelda games you use the same bow through, once you get it, and even your sword and shield are pretty much invincible. So having to change up my play style, and I'm actually kind of liking the cooking part, being able to make different dishes and stuff. I think this morning I probably spent a good 15 minutes just cooking, just making different different dishes and stuff to help. I've been doing a lot of exploring myself. I think at one point I found myself in the middle of a jungle area, and I'm just getting stomped by everything. So I'm just like, all right, let's jump back to the nearest tower and try and do something else. And the other thing that's kind of definitely made it a little more difficult and challenging is the fact that you have stamina now. So even climbing and swimming, you got to make sure that you're either close enough to a body of land so you don't drown, or you've been able to level up your stamina so that you can actually make it across a large body of water. But on the flip side, it's kind of cool being able to climb literally anything, which then makes the game so it opens up the game completely, because you're not hindered by artificial walls.
That actually was, I think, one of the things, and by the way, I'm not even remotely far into this game. I am way still early on into it. But that was immediately one of the things that blew me away. It was like, wait, I can climb this? Wait, I can climb this tree? Wait, I can climb this over here, this pillar? You could basically climb everything in the game, and it is completely open. And there's just something, I don't know what it is about the game, but there's something that I can't quite put my finger on, that I'm just in awe and amazed every time I'm playing it. It's just beautifully designed. The visuals are amazing. The controls appear to be really crisp. The enemy AI is like, I'm shocked at some of the things that it does, where it's countering, where I'm going, all right, I was using the little magnetic feature, and I was like, I'm gonna bash this little robot thing, and I'm going to kill it, and then it started dodging that little block that I'm trying to smash it with, or I was using it to block, and it's dodging, moving, sidestepping around it to get me, and I'm going, I was not expecting this. It seems like it's kind of learning from what I'm doing, which is very impressive.
I had a claymore on my back, and so I'm in a big swampy area, and a thunderstorm rolls in, and lightning is hitting. Like, at one point, lightning hits a tree, and the tree just kind of falls over, and the grass and everything is on fire, and just rocks and stuff kind of go flying. And so as I'm running around, all of a sudden Link is kind of getting all staticky, and it's because I got a claymore on my back. And then next thing you know, I get hit by lightning. I'm like, all right, yeah, because I'm running around with a giant lightning rod in my hands. So then when I played again, same thing was happening. I put the claymore away, and I was able to actually make it through without getting struck by lightning and killed.
That's I don't know what it is about this game, but it's there's just so many, it seems like, possibilities with it. And I don't remember who the reviewer was, but someone had stated they had beat the game, they've been playing it for over 60 hours, and they are still finding new areas and new things that they have not encountered yet, which I thought was just, I'm going, this is a perfect launch title, something that's going to keep me preoccupied and interested in coming back to this game for months now.
It's going to be interesting to see how long it takes the first person to 100% the game, just with how massive it is.
Month and a half.
Yeah, that will be interesting. Yeah, I've heard someone who had a review copy of the game. I forget my source, honestly, but basically I think it took them 60 hours to get finished with the game, and they didn't do everything, and so they thought if you were to try to 100% it might take 150 plus hours is their estimate. So that's just a ballpark estimate that's out there. I myself, I might be logging into the 4-digit range.
I also saw that there was some DLC available. Did you guys pick that up at this point?
DLC's coming out towards the end of the year. So,
okay.
But yeah, if 60 hours to complete the game, if we're going to estimate 150, 160 to 100% the game, the main story, the second DLC pack, which I think drops at the end of the year, is adding a whole brand new story to the game. So, maybe we'll get lucky and it'll be kind of like The Witcher 3, where the DLC was pretty much an entirely new game as well. We might get lucky with that, but no, I'll definitely be picking up the DLC once it's out.
We've been talking a lot about Breath of the Wild, but we actually have questions from subscribers who also want to ask us of what we've been up to with our Switches. So I'm going to turn things over to Matt.
Thanks, Michael. So our first question is from Password16. Hopefully that's not your real password. It's going to be like the Hunter.
That's great.
It's like Hunter, if you know that old internet meme.
Yeah.
The Hunter. So his question for us is, for those of you who are playing Breath of the Wild, where's the first place you headed after leaving the Great Plateau? Clayton.
I'm still on the Great Plateau, so which I think is like the initial thing once you get out of the cave. I'm still wandering around there. But I could be completely wrong. I don't quite remember. But the first thing that I did once I was out of the cave, I was with my son and he was watching me, and he said, I walked up to the edge of the cliff and he was like, jump down. I was like, all right, let's see if we can jump down. Yep, you can jump down. Did not end very well.
Yeah, that's actually the first thing I did too. I walked right outside of the cave and I saw that there was a cliff there and I just went for it. I didn't think about it, and it turns out that while I was doing that, my brother was playing on his system and his fiancée said, go jump off the cliff, egging him on to try to... So this is a very common thing.
I'm wondering, are there other listeners that have done the same thing?
I'm going to be the odd man out here. Like, when I got out of that cave, I went and grabbed a stick and started walking out because there's the old man with the fire.
Right.
And that actually felt very much like the very first Zelda, and I was so hoping for him to say something like, it's dangerous to go alone. So our next question is from A Link Between Times, and they ask, what direction do you think the next Zelda post Breath of the Wild will take? And what would you like to see? Michael.
Well, I think that Nintendo has done something with Breath of the Wild that they can't really go back on. So what I think is going to happen is I think we're seeing the end of more traditional 3D style Zeldas with a very linear gameplay. And I don't think we're going to see Zelda play out like that anymore. What I would want to see happen is each additional new 3D Zelda that comes out would be open world like Breath of the Wild is and be more expansive. So I think we're going to see very large Zelda games in the future. We're seeing open world Zeldas from here on out.
What about you, Clay?
Oh, man. I would love to see some more open world. I mean, I I'm such a huge fan of these open world titles. It's just something fun about this and being able to explore and literally do, it seems like, anything. Or if you see something in the distance, I know I should be able to at least get to it. It's sort of mind-blowing to me that it looks this good, it plays this great, and it is a massive game. So anything that can remotely come close to that, I will gladly shell over some money for.
So our final question is from the Amazing Wah, and they ask, how interested are you in each of the unique things or gimmicks about the Switch, such as HD rumble, the portability, that special IR sensor camera, the enhanced motion controls, things like that?
I think the one gimmick for me that's not mentioned in this list, and maybe you could capture it on the motion controls, is the ability to detach the console from the base and walk away with it. That is, like, it's a gimmick, but it's an awesome gimmick for me because I travel a lot for work. In my hotel room very easily. I can play it on the airplane very easily. I could even play it in the office if I wanted to very easily. So to me, that is by far the best gimmick out of all of the things.
Yeah, I agree with Clay. The biggest thing for me is by far the portability. But obviously for me and probably for most people, it's its versatility that sells the console.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I like being able to just pop the Joy-Cons on the side and take it with me wherever I need to go. And I'd be lying if I said I haven't used it in the bathroom at least once. I think everybody's everybody's gonna use it in the bathroom. But the HD rumble is probably one of my favorites. I should say one of my other favorite gimmicks or features about the system. Look forward to seeing how that's used in other games. Well, that about wraps it up. I'd like to thank everybody for joining us, especially our guest host Clay for taking the time to hang out with us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, if you're into 3D printing, be sure to check out Clay's YouTube channel where he does some pretty amazing things with a 3D printer. I'm kind of hoping I might be able to get him to print some Switch accessories for me at some point. I might slide a couple bucks his way. So the link, we'll definitely post the link to his channel in the podcast thread in our Nintendo. And don't forget to tune in to our next episode where we'll be looking back on the Switch's first 2 weeks of being in the public's hands. See any issues, criticisms, and praises that people have had. We'll have a better look at how people have received the new Legend of Zelda 1-2 Switch as well as other launch titles. And we'll also be discussing a question that's been asked since the dawn of video games. Is Nintendo doomed? Now, if you'll excuse me. I have the land of Hyrule to save. Talk to you next time on Hello Nintendo.
Say what?